Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you have a hangover? Because I was
Why
gonna
would
get
I
real
have?
loud in the mic.
Why would I have a hangover?
Woo! Football Sunday.
Oh no, I'm on daddy duty, so we're
Oh,
responsible this week. We're
wait
responsible
a
this week.
minute. And you on time? Oh, this is what's up.
Holiday schedule. Holiday schedule.
This is your topic, because me and Dre
Yes.
on me and Dre sit on different sides of the benefit of rack systems. Although some of my mindsets have changed over the last few years about them. So this is always a fun conversation to have together. And I think from educational purposes, um, for keepers, new and old, um, it's a great topic to help you discern what's best for you and your animal as well, because that's what basically it's going to come down to. So can't wait to get into it. So we just going to tap into the comments real fast. Stan the man, number one in the clan.
What's
Hey
up,
Stan,
Stan?
good morning. Good morning, Ken. I had so much fun on your show, Ken. The time went by
Morning, Ken.
like this. Like I couldn't believe, and I was so tired. I was telling them before the show, but like the energy was there. Great having Justin and Alex on the panel. They so cool. Up. Hey sis. Hey Angie. Angie in the house.
Hey, Angie.
The bombshell. Angie is in the house. Good morning, brother Ken. I'm at work already. He's taking the car to get the battery switched out. But yes, hope your morning is going well. Awesome. Don D. Don D, not number 3 today. What? Say what? Say what?
D, what's
Don
going
D
on,
must have
bro?
taken over.
Mm.
Wait a minute, the Eagles won, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We pulled it out.
Yeah,
We pulled it out.
yeah. So Don D fly, Eagles fly. Is that what they say?
Not only did the Eagles win, I know y'all not from Ohio, so y'all don't care. But my Wolverines beat Ohio State, so it's a perfect weekend. Perfect weekend.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah,
So
the
it's
city.
funny. Living in Columbus, y'all. Ohio State is like an NFL team. Like it's serious.
Bro.
So it was a culture shock to me, when I moved there. When I tell y'all the grocery stores got T-shirts, the damn potato chips, snacks, like
All types of paraphernalia.
everywhere. Like, like it is serious. Ohio
Listen,
State is legit in
just
Columbus.
imagine being a Michigan fan living in Ohio. Oh, they hate you. So why you live here? Why are you upset? What's wrong? But you born in Ohio. I'm like, your team is the Seattle Seahawks. You ever been to Seattle? No. Shut up. Shut it up. My family
But
from
I
Michigan.
am
I'm
not a
breathing
Ravens
Michigan.
fan.
Hey,
So
you
I
just
mean,
so mad.
although if you go to the bottom half of my house, the entire man cave is from the moment you open the door, is Ravens this, Ravens that, statue this, poster that. Like it is all. That's probably why I don't spend a lot of time down there. I was through with them after the whole Ray Rice scenario. Like that Ray Rice was my dude. I was like, I forget y'all.
Mm.
And nothing good shall come to you. Y'all been hexed ever since.
Oh yeah, it was a
Will
quiet weekend in
be
the
no
city.
Super Bowl. You'll be close to it, and it will be pulled away.
It was a quiet weekend in the city. It was
Everything you
beautiful.
done did to me will turn right back on you.
Y'all don't mind Nicole. I know she's a little special sometimes. Yeah.
Candy says she is driving, won't be in the chat till I make it home. Hey, Candy, be safe.
Sweet
In the
Jones.
Houston streets, no. Candy is in what? Dallas, right?
I think so.
Fort Worth, Fort Worth, Fort Worth.
KT is in there.
Yeah. Either way,
Shout out to Candy. We did karaoke last Wednesday on my TikTok
what?
karaoke night. Oh, it was fun as hell. It was fun.
Why you didn't text me? Where's Chris? Chris was supposed to text me. I Y'all can't even karaoke without me. How is this even possible? Chris could.
No, Chris canceled last minute. Oh, I'm under the weather, Dre. I was like, can't take black people nowhere. I'm telling you.
Should have called me.
Oh, it was fun. Hey, Candy, and my homegirl Ricky, they tore it up. We're gonna do it again this Wednesday. I be having to be careful because I know Nicole be so busy, so she gotta divide her time wisely.
This was a very busy weekend.
She don't be trying to mess with little old me, so
Oh, please, that's not true. And sometimes, actually, last night I tapped in, but I was like, "Where you at?" The screen didn't have where in, but I never made it back. But I did tap in last night. But you.
What, when I was on live?
You was live yesterday. I don't know what you was doing, but you disappeared, and it was like a screen of just like one of the enclosures there. KT, good morning, KT. KT in the house. Hey, Karen Shay, good morning, beautiful.
Karen Shay.
Good morning.
Hey, Chris up here lying already.
Elias, I have to get you on the phone. I need all of my IT stuff set up. You're going to have to show me. I have this thing over 6 months now, and if I still can't get it hooked up, so when Dre say stuff, I can press buttons that say, certain words and stuff. I can reprogram my voices.
Why only when I say stuff? Okay, DJ D-Rec.
I hope everybody is having a good Monday. I've been up extra early. I've been up since like 5, so my energy is on like 100. So I'm sorry if I'm a little late. Chris. Whoa.
Hey, shout out to Chris. He did a dope live over the weekend too on TikTok.
Oh yes, I was doing that one almost 98% of the time because I was cooking.
Yeah, he killed it.
Yeah, Chris.
He had his toes out and everything.
So funny. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm great mess with both of y'all. If you ever want to meet, if you close your eyes and listen to Chris and Dre, you would not think that, well, I shouldn't say it like this, but they don't sound like the typical black boys if you close your eyes. So watching y'all, and then y'all are so articulate, like Chris will enunciate every word. Like you guys are not the stereotypical black reptile.
I sure will talk all proper of my gold grills and my locks. I sure will.
It'd be so cool.
Shout out to Chris.
Chris, yes. Chris believe in the proper etiquette. Hey, Justin. Good morning, Pie. Oh, we're going to get this going. It's Monday. Me and Dre ain't talked all week. So, well, yeah.
Sure haven't, have we? Yeah.
So it's a little bit extra shenanigans this morning.
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving. I didn't care to really. I wasn't trying to.
Yeah, which I cooked 2 meals. I cooked the traditional for them.
Yeah, how did that go?
So I pick an animal. Do you want turkey or ham? Babe said ham, so I only made a ham. Normally I would cook a fried turkey, a regular turkey, and a ham. So it was like pick one. Michael
that's cooked a lot of food.
Yeah, Michael cooked a lot. He baked all of the bacon. He did a banana pudding. It went great. So I did their food early in first, and I just did a vegan spaghetti for me, which was amazing, y'all. And it was made out of pecans. Go watch my video on my Vegan Power channel. Dope. Y'all catch the plug?
What's up?
But yeah.
Yeah, I hope everybody had a good holiday. Good morning, Darlene.
Good morning. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody else in the chat because you guys are important. You are important. You are kind. Okay, so before we get it popping, we're going to, it's Monday. I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to watch Brian Barczyk's most recent video. If you haven't, well, let me not say most recent. The one that he posted with the update of his health, because we're talking Brian Barczyk. He could have posted 3 videos since last night. So go back and watch the one where he gives an update on his health. This morning, you all right? You ain't having no stroke or nothing?
Yeah.
All you
Neck
can
is a
do is
little sore.
911.
Nah, neck is a little sore. Slept on the wrong. You know, I ain't no young buck no more. When she hit them 30s, everything go wrong.
Yes. So definitely not the greatest update, but we're gonna stay hopeful and encourage for Bryant. So I just wanted to I found this. This is not a prayer. Somebody, his name was it's under here. I just can't see it. Somebody has credit for this. But it pretty much stated weakness with acknowledgement of it is the fittest seat and subject for God to perfect his strength in. For consciousness of our infirmities drives us out of ourselves to him in whom our strength lies. So, pretty much to sum it up, I love this because this is when your faith really kicks in. And I even thought about this myself. Like, we don't think about the end because the end is not inevitable. My husband was talking about that this morning too. Like we just take for granted that we're going to wake up the next day. But imagine being that person who you are in the valley. You know how this Psalm 23, though we may walk in the valley of the shadow of death, when you're in the valley and all you have is your faith in God. Because at the end of the day, man can't do any more for you. The doctors are saying that they're limited. There's a clinical trial that he's going to try, but it's a clinical trial. Um, he's getting sicker. So you are that man in the valley. To see him continue to go reminds me of this particular message here that we just read. Um, Even in his weakest times, he is turning to whom we know his help is coming from. So I still feel very prayerful for him. I still feel like he's going to be redeemed. I think he's a staple in the community. And I think that God is going to use him to bring all of us closer together and show us, a little bit more reality of life and what's important. So prayers and continue to give big shout outs to Brian Barchek and his team, his beautiful wife, Lori, who I always think of at this time because the one time a wife is no good when she's no good, and that's when she cannot do anything to help her helpmate. And so I think it's really, really awful. I can't even think of having to do that and not be able to give your husband the relief that you would like for them to have. And when it comes to the point of life, you're limited to that because that's only in one person's hands. So shout out to Brian Barchak. And so let's get this popping, Dre. I don't think Darlene, if I missed you, good morning, Darlene. Good morning, Eric. I know I didn't see Eric. So benefits of rack systems, and you see the question mark. So I'll start by saying, and Dre's gonna take this one pretty much by the goat.
Yeah.
I really think I was the person who y'all always knew I was dead against rack systems and never saw a benefit to them until I started to breed animals. And I shared the story before, even moving one of my animals who I wanted to breed into the breeding rack system because she just seemed to like she wouldn't breed over here in her normal PVC setup. But when we put her into the rack system, she instantly locked with that particular animal. So I think it's the difference of a benefit from as keepers. If you are someone like myself, like you see, is a whole different room who want to see certain animals all the time, then definitely rack systems is not going to be for you. As a breeder, though, I've seen a animal change its breeding behavior, which is the goal for the breeder, right? The goal for the breeder is to get it to breed, and if it's putting them in a rack system, that's the goal. But the goal for the keeper is to see that animal traveling through the aquarium, being able to build a terrarium, be able to build a barn with them or PVC, whatever you keep them in, tub, whatever. But from a benefits perspective, unless your animal is in a PVC enclosure, I'm going to say a rack system is best for them for so many different reasons, unless they're in a PVC enclosure. And Dre, you can take it from here.
Yeah,
That's just,
so first off, I just want to preface it by saying, in no way, shape, or form am I saying a rack system is, and this is my personal opinion. I'm not saying a rack system is the end all be all for snakes. I personally don't think any snake should live their entire life in a rack. But the conversation was prompted, of course, TikTok. I'll be getting attacked. Well, I got attacked by a bunch of middle schoolers over the weekend. So it kind of just prompted a conversation on a lot of the misconceptions and miseducation around rack systems. Me personally, I use rack for establishing my smaller snakes. So I keep them sterile for me to be able to see what's going on with them if there is anything. Because yes, I've definitely got a snake. I've received a couple snakes that had bites. So for people to be against rack systems, but they don't really. It's like, so how do you quarantine? I'm not saying you have to necessarily quarantine in Iraq, but you're still using a tub, and I think that's most people's concern. And a lot of the concerns are, well, it doesn't provide enrichment. You can't do this. You can't do that. I say it's all the time. As long as you use a rack properly, you can do any and everything you can inside of a PVC enclosure. The main thing is making sure said snake has enough room in the rack. That is the main thing. But a lot of people will literally throw out the term neglect just because someone uses a rack. But there are so many different sizes of racks. There's so many different snakes that can go in a rack. So if you are housing so I have a pied retic, and everybody knows, I've talked to this dude is like this big, and he is in a 28 quart tub. This dude can literally go back and forth in that tub, and he's not touching it all because he's so small. I put him in there for a reason because number one, he's underfed. Two, he had some issues with shedding and everything. So I think a lot of benefits. Most people try to generalize and use like a blanket care system for all snakes instead of
yeah.
catering to that specific species needs or that specific snake's needs. And everybody just wants to, oh, they should be in bioactive. Listen. I'm glad that you have access to Google, and I'm glad that you want your animals to be in these huge bioactive enclosures. But again, if you're not actually paying attention to your animal and you're just going off of what you think is cool, then you're not benefiting the animal at all. And I think that that's the difference between a lot of the people who keep in racks and people who don't. Now, I'm not knocking people who don't keep in racks. Again, my racks are not racks that I'm going to be keeping forever. They are a good establishment for the betterment of the animals, but it's not full life, whatever. But there are too many people who literally just think that if you have your snakes in a rack, you're being neglectful. And it doesn't make any sense to me because if you do your research on what racks are used for, not to mention majority of people who have these animals, you hate racks so much yet you support people who use them. It doesn't make sense. Because no matter whether you rescued it or not, that breeder more than likely uses a rack to house the babies. It's too easy. I don't know any breeder that does not use a rack.
If done responsibly, I have no issues with rack systems. Having done both, racks can definitely be beneficial. So that's my point. So let me just say, to go to your point, Dre, I think people generalize husbandry for a lot of animals. So I'll use the example. I have retics who should have a whole house to travel. Then I have retics that will probably be good in the box. Don't take me out the box, and I'm good too. Um, what I've noticed with breeding and with ball pythons specifically, you got the same thing. Even though it's a smaller snake, every now and then you'll have a ball python who is very active. What you do is treat that individual snake accordingly. I can tell you that shout out to ARS. That 5540 clear tub rag, you can do so much in it, even for like that's what my baby retics in. And even though they're not at that size, because I personally don't believe any reticulated python that's kept as a pet that is growing at its normal daily potential should be still in a rack system anywhere after a year. That's just my personal belief. There are breeders that keep them in larger rack systems, and that works for them. They have procedures that they do to try to keep those animals stimulated. For me, I don't think I would ever want a reticulated python that's or any snake for that matter restricted to like Larry, like the water monitor. Yes. Do he need all that space? Absolutely. Do he utilize the ceiling to the floor? Absolutely. So that's different, and that's how we cater to that particular animal. But for the new keepers, and I want to say this, I know it's a couple watching. You're getting your first time snakes, right? I recommend a rack system for a new keeper. I recommend it until you understand full husbandry of your ball python, for example, or your corn snake, whatever it is. You those type of enclosures are less fallible compared to if you just throw them in these large aquariums or terrariums that does not have to require humidity or whatever that individual snake need, because every snake is not the same. You will find even with your ball pythons, even as breeders, you got ball pythons that's in the same exact rack system where one ball python knows how to prepare themselves for shed by soaking themselves or whatever it needs, and they'll have a perfect shed anyway. And then you'll have one right next to them who hasn't mastered the preparation piece that can help them do it. So it's an individual base. I don't have one animal in here that I think that desire to be kept one specific way. Now I was the person who was head off with you if you put animals in the rack system. And that was even ball pythons. Like for me, that was even ball pythons until I started to deal with multiple ball pythons. And when I say multiple, not the 5 that I had, I'm talking about what 80 plus now, and to see that there is ball pythons that I can open up right now that you can find in the same spot every single time. There is others that I can sit here and look like this fool wants some out time. There's others that you go in there that you'll see from move one point to the other, and that's you determine what kind of rack system do you put them in. You can put a baby ball python in a ARS 5540 if you want to, if that animal loves to climb, and you can just put a whole bunch of stuff in there, the same leaf litter and all that stuff that you can put in a regular enclosure. You can get them some climbing apparatuses, all you want to do, because contrary to what people believe, ball pythons, there are some ball pythons who are climbers and they like to do it. I have some of those. Some of them have trees, some of them don't. It all depends on the individual snake. So I think that whenever I hear this conversation come up, especially, and normally the people who think that every ball python or every snake should be in these extravagant enclosures are people who are keeping 1 or 2 snakes. So they haven't seen the potential that other keeping systems can actually provide. And you're not going to know this matter. Like for me, I kept animals 30 plus years before I determined that okay, rack systems are not that bad. I wasn't putting them in it to see it. So it wasn't until I started having to put them in rack systems, because I can't have 150 enclosures in the house, that I started to see the benefits. And that's even with, like I said, that one animal I had who was a pet in a PVC, who would not breed with the same parent in that enclosure. I just said one day I'm gonna try this night and just put them in here, and just like that animal bred. So for the benefit of a breeder, you have to understand what their goals are. And another thing, as a breeder, I'm gonna say this last thing, Dre, and you go ahead and get your point. I know that all breeders are not on social media like we are. So you see us handling our animals, we on TikTok, they're out and stuff like that. There are plenty of breeders who don't do social media that you may see their animals in rack systems, who are also handling their animals just like you see us doing. We're just the ones who don't mind being on the screen. Most reptile people don't want to be on the screen doing this. So when you see somebody doing that, give them that like, give them that share, give them that comment, because there's a whole nother world of elite reptile keepers who would never show their face on this screen. So don't assume that breeder is a bad breeder because they're keeping their animals in rack systems. That breeder actually has less time, FaceTime on the social media things, which means they got more private time to handle all of their animals as much as they want to. So we shout out to the breeders who know what they're doing from that mindset as well. To new keepers, I honestly recommend you, even if you get a retic from me and you ask me, what should I keep them in? My first thing is always a tub. I tell you, go get a 106 or 116 quart tub. Start them out there. Keep them there up until the time you ready to put them, probably by 8 to 12 months, and you ready to put them in a big enclosure. And I don't recommend that you put them in a 6-footer first. Throw them in an 8-footer. Throw them in an 8-footer, and that's their lifetime home for most of them. I don't have one retic that I don't think that would be okay in an 8-footer. Even the one who's not, even the one that's in a big enclosure, she would be just fine if she was in an 8-footer. So it all depends on the individual snakes.
Yeah,
That's
and I think
about the benefit of the snake. Go ahead, Dre.
I think that's what it all boils down to. You get a lot of people that will literally talk trash about people
Yep,
who
Joey
keep in
D.
racks, and then you see the animal, and the animal is perfectly healthy. The animal looks great. The animal is eating, shedding, pooping, peeing. The animal is thriving because we got the whole surviving just not thriving community out there. Um, but they still haven't ever talk trash, and then these people literally again are keeping some of the easiest animals to take care of, but also these are the same people that will also throw their ball pythons in a front opening glass exoterra enclosure and then think that they're experts. And again, it doesn't make sense like that. You're not doing your research. You're literally going off of the group of people that you want to be associated with because your whole personality of reptile keeping is based off of who you can bash online. And you're not going to get anywhere. Somebody like me that don't give a fuck, you ain't going to get nowhere. I don't care. If you don't like what I post, you don't like how I keep my animals, okay, that's fine. It's fine.
Candy had
But
a
at the
good
end of
point.
the day, what's up?
No, go ahead.
Oh, but I was just like, at the end of the day, it's hard for me to respect people who can't respect that there's multiple ways to keep an animal and achieve the same goal. Just because somebody has their snake in a rack now doesn't mean you don't know what they have going on. Like if they could be having enclosures built, or this particular animal could be going through something and they want to get a better look at them, so they decide to
Well,
put
that
them in
animal
a
just like being in
quarantine
a
setup.
rack.
The animal might just do better in a rack. And again, that's what I mean by cater to that animal's need. Don't generalize the care because it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. I got 5 retics, and Tootsie. Tootsie is one of the retics that I have that, that does not move. She acts like a ball python. Versus Cookie, my cow, she everywhere. She is everywhere. But at the end of the day, I pay attention to what my animal's doing. I hate the comment, well, if you gave them more space, they would use it. That's not how that works.
No. I mean,
Snakes are gonna.
I have them in the same spaces, and I can tell you, I showed y'all Saturday when I was at the stack of the 3 retics, and I showed you the one at the bottom. I told you she ain't gonna move. She ain't coming out this door like the other ones. The other ones, you open the door, they come right out. She gonna sit there. You gonna have to literally go in there and get her, and that's what I have to do for that particular one.
But at the end of the day, I'm tired of people denying the intelligence of these snakes. It doesn't matter what space you give them. Yeah, it doesn't matter what space you give them. If a snake wants to do something, they're gonna do it. Listen. At the end of the day, you put your snake in the enclosure, and we close them doors. I don't mean they ain't gonna try to get out. They're gonna do what they want to do, and people just think they have to be kept a certain way. And I hate that. If you're not keeping this way, you're a bad keeper. You're being neglectful. Oh, okay, you got your snake from PetSmart, but I'm the bad keeper. How does that make sense? You're supporting a business that does nothing for our industry. And then you bash other reptile keepers who are 9 times out of 10 more experienced than you, and they've learned how to streamline their process, especially for people who keep a lot of snakes. It'll never make sense to me. And this is why I typically don't rebuttal back to people, but sometimes, every now and then, you got to let them know, like, okay, you sound like an idiot. So I'll make one response and then I keep it moving. Whatever you comment after that, I don't care.
See, I can't do how y'all do those, like you and Morgan does the comment things. I can't do that. That'll be an irate video. So I just keep it moving.
The only reason I do them is because TikTok is meant for you to get views and go viral. So I use that as a reason to make a video.
I get it,
but at the end of the day,
my therapy, my anger management says that I better not do that video.
Oh, literally, I had, this like this 16-year-old. He had a Brazilian rainbow boa in a bioactive enclosure, And so I did the time lapse of me cleaning, and he was somebody was like, "Why is your Emerald Tree Bow in a 5 gallon tank?" It's like what? So I did a rebuttal, and I put a 10 gallon tank next to the Emerald Tree Bow's enclosure, and I was like, "Well, this can't be a 5 because you see how much bigger this is than this." And so I was explaining. I didn't explain, but I basically was just talking
Oh, I
about like the
did see
Emerald
that
Tree
video.
Bow.
That was funny.
Yeah, so
That was
I was just like, I mean, it's a tree snake. Number one, this enclosure is not as small as you think it is. I'm literally showing you one angle, and the enclosure is 2 foot front to back. But also, the zoom on the camera is on. This emerald tree boa is not that big. He cannot even reach the bottom of his enclosure from the top perch. And you want to sit here and tell me that it's too small, yet you have no reptiles. And anybody who comments on somebody else's profile and you have a private page, I don't want to hear nothing. But that's how I knew these were kids. So I made the one comment, and then he went and got his friends. There was like 3 or 4 other little kids, and I was like, don't check out some homework y'all should be doing. And then there was the one kid who said something. He's like, well, I don't know why y'all expect so much out of him. He also keeps his snakes in a rack. And I was like, oh shit, you got a badass over here. You got 3 snakes, bro. I don't care.
I want to touch on Candy's comment because this is an important one. So Candy has said, I had one rack and the heat tape did some weird shit and we lost our first ball python. So I get rid of it as soon as possible. But now I have a better understanding of it, so I want another one. So again, because I know there's new keepers on here. Any system you use, you need to make sure that you verify. And I always say, at least with the breeder, how it should be properly set up. There are certain rack systems that I'm not saying that you don't have to worry about, certain events like that, but there's certain rack systems that are built that those type of things are unlikely to happen because of how they're built and the mechanisms that are installed with it to make sure it doesn't. But particularly like even if you're using a tub, I always say you got to make sure that your heat inside the tub is matching what you have that thermostat set in. And most new keepers don't understand. They think that if they set the thermostat at this level, that's what it's going to be. And that's typically true if you're dealing with a PVC enclosure that's a thermostat is connected to like a radiant heat panel or something like that. But when you're dealing where you got textures and layers and substrate and all of that other stuff, you have to balance it out to make sure that the heat inside of your rack systems are matching what it should be. Which sometimes you have to bump that thermostat up, adjust the thermostat to 95 to get 87 in that enclosure, for example. So, and if you have them in tubs, like the 1-6, 1-16 quart, and you have them on a heat pad, you want to make sure the same thing. But one thing you want to also make sure, even more importantly than that, your heat pad normally comes with these little 4 things that you can put at the bottom to give airspace between the table that your tub is sitting on and that heat pad. That is very important that you have, and it's just a little bit of space. Those little balls give you just a little bit of space, but you need that heat flow. I mean, the airflow coming under that heat pad and whatever structure you have your tub sitting on. These are things that prevents fires. You're dealing with real heating and electrical when you're dealing with reptiles. And when you're dealing with a multitude of them, we talked about this in other podcasts. Y'all can go back and look and watch, talking about just safety, heat, fire, safety, and things like that. When you're dealing with multiple reptiles, you have to, it's so many things that you have to be alert on to make sure that your systems are working effectively. If you're dealing with animals who are in PVC enclosures, you stress me out if you got their water bowl underneath their radiant heat panel. Now, you definitely want it to be close to their heat panel because you want that humidity to derive from the heat. But retake specifically can do some shit overnight, including reconnecting and disconnecting stuff. And my biggest fear is, let's say if one of them was to go in there and somehow figure out, it's never happened, but it can, to pull down a radiant heat panel and it falls into the water where they apparently are because it's right underneath of that heat panel and they electrocute your damn snake. So please, for those of y'all who have that, can y'all correct that today because y'all be stressing me out. Now, I don't comment on your videos because you can set your animal up the way that you can, but I hope that you're watching this podcast and that you'll make that correction. Thank you very much. Your
We
animal
talked
should
about
not be, the water source should not be right underneath the heat source. That's normal life.
we talked about retics and snakes rearranging their enclosures and everything like that. So yeah, I keep no,
Elijah says
but
I get called an abuser on TikTok every time I post. I just simply turn off comments because I don't have the time to keep repeating the same information over and over again. One thing about my vegan brain, Elias, is that it don't want no smoke. I don't know what it is.
listen,
Like I'm like a hum.
well, call
Like
me
a
a call me a chimney. I got smoke for everybody. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, just because you louder than I am doesn't make you more right. It just makes you stupid. It just makes you just no. It's okay to be wrong, but when you loud and wrong, that's when you got a problem because you're gonna have to
but you
keep it
can
pushing.
block them. So that's my thing.
I
You
only
can
I
block
only I'll
because some of
block them
them
if
people
they
just
get a little
want to
bit too
be
much.
wrong.
A
They
lot of
just
them
do
honestly
that to
just
be
want
wrong.
attention. A lot
Right.
of them
That's
just want
what I'm saying.
attention. And I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Because I can be a little attention whore myself. So I'm gonna give you what you want. I'm gonna give you what you want. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna come and tell me about my animal, especially an animal you have no experience with. So you have your education off of Google, and I have my education based off of my experience. I'm gonna go with my experience, 10 times out of 10.
The only thing I don't like from experiences for years is the all glass enclosures. PVC hands down, but ball pythons are happier in rags. Plus, they are always out and about. So I am a huge PVC fan for anything except for corn snakes because corn snakes don't give a damn. Put me in an aquarium, put me in a terrarium. I
Well, I
don't need
mean,
no heat. Keep my ambient good. We chilling over here in the
yeah,
cut.
corn
But I
snakes,
agree.
king snakes, rat snakes, they don't,
Yeah, like the
they do
colubrids,
great.
you can get away with the colubrids. Like you can like seriously, they don't like most colubrids don't need a whole lot of humidity and all of the extra. But corn snakes very specifically is one of my favorites. So I do agree. But I think when you get into larger, the ones who have to shed, who take hours to shed, they need PVC. Um,
Bruh,
yeah.
weeks. You'd be like, you still in check? God. Oh,
But even watching,
hurry
like
up.
I recorded the shed process, like just set the camera. I left, came back, left, came back. Like when you got a 14-foot snake shedding, it's like you know how a green tree sheds pretty fast once it starts to shed. Like once it starts the process, it sheds pretty fast. A
Mhm.
retake be like, all right, this part, and then when it
I'd
gets
be
to the last
like,
part is when it gets it off. Yeah, like
look,
oh,
it's like a black person trying to leave church. We didn't try to leave about 10 times. We'd be like, all right, y'all ready?
damn.
Keep on talking. Like, can you hurry up?
And that's
Let's
with
go.
good husbandry. So that's like with large water bowls and all of that. So could you imagine having that same animal in a less valued husbandry, trying to shed appropriately? That gotta be hell. Ken said last winter I had a hard time keeping them all to have good sheds. This winter I have them on Coco Togo and I miss it daily and I have no issues so far.
Whew.
Yeah, so the rack systems I use, I don't have any issues. The ARS hatchling rack, the ARS 5540. I have the what are those? The reptile basics, one, two, three, four of those. Which actually the reptile basics are some of my favorite rack systems, especially for your younger ball pythons. Um because I think because of how the PVC is made, it keeps the humidity where it needs to be on all levels. But yeah, I think if you have the right rack system, like Dre mentioned before, if you're doing the man-made ones or the do-it-yourself ones, then you have to take extra precautions with those, and you have to provide different levels of or different types of humidity procedures on those because it
Yeah,
doesn't hold. Sure.
I utilize a lot of human hides. I hate like having to wet the whole enclosure, so I'll just make a designated area, which is typically under the hide, and
Hey
I always
Hugh.
have success with that. Always have success with the human hides. Good old sphagnum moss goes a long way.
Yeah.
Always keeps them on deck.
That's what I love, the sphagnum moss in my green tree. I
Oh
always put
yeah.
sphagnum in there. I think that's what helps that to hold the humidity, because you got to remember their humidity levels got to be high and wide. And so I think the sphagnum just keeps it going in there for sure. Candy said she had rack systems for her bearded dragons. See, I don't have an issue with them now. I mean, I did, like I said, when you don't use something for yourself, you can't make a real analysis on it, so you then make your hypothesis on what you think. It totally changed my mind when I started using them, and that's why I bought more. And then, of course, from a breeder's perspective, it's absolutely no way you're breeding. And well, I don't. You could be Rockefeller, and you putting enclosures all over the house. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. I don't want to say can't. Just in my financial abilities.
For sure. So I think at the end of the day, do what works for your snakes, and you do what you can manage
And if
without.
your snake is what Dre said, eating, is
Mm-hmm.
shedding,
Yeah, that's what I was
it's
gonna say.
pooping, it's drinking, like it's getting what it needs, then your snake is telling you right there that I'm okay. Because a snake who is in distress won't do those things.
Yeah, do what works for you. By the end of the day, what mostly benefits the snake without jeopardizing the health of the snake. That's really all it comes down to. Unfortunately, this is a debate that will never die down. At the end of the day, you're gonna always have those people that think that they can look down on people who use racks, and ignorance isn't always bliss. Ignorance is sometimes stupidity.
And I think too, one of the questions that you have to ask people, especially for those of you who, because I don't get these type of texts on TikTok, but for
Yeah,
those of you who do, the first question I would ask is, I think that's the benefit. So when we talking about woman versus male, I think that's the benefit of TikTok. Me be like, the advantage of being a woman on TikTok, I think I have that advantage
I
where
don't know,
people
because
don't really, or is it's because I don't get those attacks.
some of my women friends, there's a group of these little girls who go around and they be trying to just. It's literally like they're trying to get clout based off of attacking people, and they know
Yeah,
controversy gets them views.
they probably see my Twitch already. They probably know. Don't,
But again, like I tell people all the time, you can't cancel somebody that don't give a fuck. Somebody that's
yeah.
not bothered by, like, we're not Gen Z. We don't care about cyberbullying. That shit ain't gonna work. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. At the end of the day,
Ken's point. One of the first snakes I sent out, the person got a terrarium with all this enrichment and it didn't eat. I told him to get a shoebox tub and put it inside the terrarium and it ate. You can experience that as
but
well.
again, people. That's what happens when people set up the enclosure based off of what they want to see versus what the snake needs.
I mean, especially with retics, you want to be careful. Well, not especially because retics are typically going to eat if they're hungry, they don't care. But I would tell you this: pay attention to your retics and your ball pythons when you change and put something new in their enclosure. So imagine shipping them to a new place, brand new air, brand new smells, brand new scents, brand new all of this for pheromones and all of that. Then adding all this extra enrichment. If you ever watch when you just switch out a water bowl, how much time they spend just licking that water bowl trying to figure it out, or
Mm-hmm.
how much time that new tree they just sit there just licking that tree trying to figure it out. They gotta nail do this to a whole new environment. They too busy licking, they can't eat. Like they too busy trying to figure
And
out where the hell am I?
and people don't understand that that can be also overwhelming to a snake. It's a lot to take in. But you want to just have all these plants, this high, this. You want to set it up as this terrain that they technically wouldn't even have in the wild. But you're
Repeat.
upset because a lot of people want to keep sterile. Okay, well, you have fun with your mites, but I'm gonna make sure we're not getting that over here.
Right. And that's another thing, another breeder tip. Um the it's easier for us to make sure that our breeding stock is kept sanitary if they are in rack systems. There's no way in hell, I don't care if you got a breeder who keeps 100 animals in aquariums, that they're cleaning them animals the way that they should be, that you would want your hatchling or your subadults to be kept before you purchase them from somebody. So literally, we go in front of them racks, we able to pull out tubs, exchange tubs, give them brand new tubs, take this one, go ahead, send it to the scrubber, all that type of stuff. So actually, I am encouraged when I see breeders with rats. Understanding that side of it, more than purchasing an animal. It's one of the reasons why you always hear me say I don't buy like large animals or already adult animals, because I know chances are me getting a baby, that baby was kept in better conditions than the adult. Because I can tell you right now, my babies in that room are cleaner than who the hell knows which one of them did something after I cleaned them all yesterday. Right now, when I turn these lights on, it could be shit right in there. Those babies, I'm constantly there. I can guarantee you that after I cleaned that poop last night, they didn't poop again. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Mhm.
and it's not knocking the person who has a large. I'm just telling you, as a large snake keeper, if you think by no means that enclosure is 110% sanitary, 8 hours, 10 hours, 16 hours a day, that's a damn lie. I have cleaned enclosures and went upstairs and took a nap and came back down and found a retic laying and it's piss. Okay, so
Oh,
rack systems
they're
is a way to stay on top of this
notorious
stuff.
for that.
Exactly, exactly.
But again, with this topic, like I said it at the beginning, this is not, for me personally,
Up
the end
here.
all be all. It's not racks. If you keep in PVC and your snakes are thriving, keep doing that. We're not bashing people who keep in PVC. If what you're doing is working for your snake, keep doing that. We just want to kill the narrative that just because someone uses a rack, that it makes them a bad keeper, because it's not the case.
Darlene said, you have a big fancy enclosure and your snake won't eat. Put a smaller tub beside.
Literally.
Oh,
I
shit.
think people forget the basics of snake keeping. Snakes want to feel secure. Snakes like their privacy. Snakes are solitary animals for the most part.
Right.
So you having them on display like a trophy, that snake may not be a fan of that, or you might have to try something different, or just ease them into it. You get a new snake, they're already going through a stressful period, and then you don't quarantine them and you don't let them acclimate. You just put them in this 4x2x2 with plants and bark and lights and plants and hides, and they're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Exactly, Hugh. And then too, like Hugh said earlier, and this is specific to ball pythons, and like I said, it's flipped when it comes to retics, but it's probably neutral for boas. Most of the time, ball pythons and boas, for the most part, do not want to be on display. Now, boas do have their moments where they want to come out and be on display, but most of the time, you're going to find them not on display. Retics are a little different. It's opposite. It's rare that you'll find one who don't want to be nosy. Not
Right.
necessarily on display, but nosy. They just want to see what the hell's going on.
Uh-huh.
For
I want to see if you
sure.
got some food or not, what you got going on.
Exactly. Like, what is that? What was that noise and all that type of stuff? But yeah, like I agree with, like, even with watching like the difference in the baby ball python personalities. Like
What
I
up,
said, you
Sean?
got some who you take out to clean, who want to just stay out. Then you got others who's like, all right, hurry up
Yeah,
and put me
yeah. You trying to put them back, and they keep wrapping around your arm. Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. Um, Ken said get a heat gun and check it at least weekly. We wake up to the smell of burning plastic. If it had burned that tub so bad, yeah, and that's
yeah. That heat tick was bad.
yeah.
That's why I change mine every year.
So, and that's another way that, I mean, I know a lot of us use them as breeders, but those actual sensor pushes, those are good for your rack systems too. So what I do is I put a sensor push in each tier. So whatever tier that particular thermostat is running on, I'll find an empty tub or a snake who is not as active and put it in there. And that also helps me to monitor if there's any spikes or drops in that heating system. So let's say if the heating system goes really, really high, it's going to alert me. If it goes really, really low, it's going to alert me too. So definitely do that. Who said most VE thermostats are 2.5 to 5 degrees off almost every time with PVC in my enclosures. Yeah, so in my PVC enclosures, I only use the radiant heat panels. I use the Herbstats and the VEs for the other rack systems, but definitely for the regular PVC enclosures, I use radiant heat panels for those. But yeah, for ball pythons, that's definitely something that you have to pay attention to. And we was talking about that a little earlier, just making sure that when you set that thermostat, that the desired temper that you are looking for inside the enclosure or the rack is exactly what it is reading inside. I'm sorry, I didn't I didn't mean to unlock new fears. This is what we're here for, though. We're trying to be
Stuff
proactive.
to be aware of.
You don't have to be reactive. I be having time for them. Try Jesus, not me. Pray with me. Don't play with me.
Hey, listen, like I said, at the end of the day, you don't gotta like it. You take a time out of your day to come over here on my page. I know it's fun over here, but hey, going back over there with your little three snakes and let me do my business.
Chris said, shoot, I must be doing it wrong then. My 14-foot girl eclipse sheds quickly. No, I would say at least 30 minutes it took. Watching him from the moment, because I caught him right from the break of the head, and it took about 30. I literally left the camera, left, and then came back. I have the video. I just left and came back. Those are the types of footage that you get if you're a member of my channel. Huge sea serpent racks hold too much humidity. You have to drill holes in all the tubs to let more. I don't have any sea serpent racks, but I can see where that definitely could be an issue. Yeah, my go-to for racks are definitely my favorites are my ARS, and I love the heat panels that come with the ARS racks too. Cocoa chips and sphagnum moss are my lifesavers. Hey, Morgan.
Good morning.
I built all my racks but 3, cheaper and easier. It's easier to just order it. I say this to Dre all the time.
I built mine up.
You like building, I guess. For me, it's just easy to just order and put that bitch together.
I built mine because I knew I wasn't going to be. I know eventually I was going to be getting rid of them. I didn't want to be ordering that.
Girl, Sean used to be really good too at building his. He's still really good with his rack.
They're not hard to build.
All the things, but I still can't wait to upgrade them all.
The hardest part when you build your own one is installing that damn intake. I can build it, but I can't fund it.
Darlene, my husband can build. I mean, as y'all see, he built Larry's enclosure. He just won't. And if he do, it's going to be like he's Cliff Huxtable. It's going to be a process. It's going to be in between the football games and everything else. Like he
that man alone. He said he'd get it done when he get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it'll get done. It's gonna be really nice when it's finished. But let me tell you, with Larry, I gave him like a year warning. He's going to need this by this time. I swear to God. Just start now. Start buying the wood, because that's another thing. Oh, they didn't have the wood. They didn't have this. He's going to need this by this date. So
you got your Christmas decorations, didn't you?
I get every. You know what? Yes, I did.
I
did. Damn it!
Hey, let my guy chill.
I did be trying, but golly,
he said he gonna get to it.
Kitchen cabinets. We talk about this to this day. We bought paint because he had this big plan to redo the kitchen. He was gonna redo the cabinets, We go to Home Depot. He and I lay these people out because the paint that was supposed to be there wasn't there. We went to get it. So they gave us a nice discount. We get the paint. Where's the paint right now? My cabinet is still the original color. That paint is still in the basement.
That's some black folk stuff right there. Just ignorant.
He put the sanding down, all of that. All that is still in the basement. I got the same color cabinets from the day
y'all done gave these nice people the business. Take that paint home and not do nothing with it. Ignorant.
He did nothing with it. I laugh every single time. And every time something come up or I do something, I'll be like, you know that paint is still in the basement. It ain't even no good. All that money you spent on it is not any good. Oh my God. That is just hysterical to me. Every time I think about it.
Can't take black folks nowhere, I'm telling you.
Joey D said the species of red snakes I keep, some people will give them these large enclosures with climbing branches for adult. But I keep my animals in racks, no problem. Yeah, Joey D got all the colubrids. Well, he keeps a big collection of colubrids. He ain't ball pythons, but he knows a lot about colubrids. Way more than I do. I can just tell you about corn snakes. I've never had any other colubrid. Sean, bro. The
what
builder.
Up, what up?
Sean be building stuff in a day. Like,
yeah, dude.
Sean be like, give me the wood. It was a whole fucking closure about it next day.
Sean turning into Sonic. He's like, this motherfucker built a house in 2 hours.
Right. That man be putting in work.
That's what's up, though.
Yes. I mean, it takes that type of work ethic to do what he's doing, though. My blind scaleless leucistic Texas red snake that I got from you, Joe, is doing great. Eating good, eliminating, not snappy, even though she's blind. Blindfold is awesome.
I like the name. That's dope.
Shout out to you, darling. I love the little deformed animals. I think they all deserve a chance to live. And just because she's blind doesn't mean that she's not happy to be alive. That's so cool. I love building and making things. Do it yourself. Anything is my jam. I don't have the patience for it. I'm just getting to. My husband really forced me over the last 5 years to not rely on him to like even put stuff together. So I've been pressing him with like, you know, how some things come in the box for real. Like, cause he had a point. If you're going to continue to do what you're doing, if I'm not here, you're going to have to be able to know how to do these things, but you can't swing a whole enclosure build on me. But I put up the tarantula thing. I put up this cabinet thing over there, a couple of the enclosure stands and stuff like that. That's big for me because I didn't have to do that. I had a mommy and daddy who did stuff like that. So I was at a disadvantage of not knowing how to do a lot of things. So Slim has really pushed me over the last 5 years to.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. I built a rat rack. I did build one of the rat racks, one of our earlier ones.
I think you posted.
Yeah,
posted that a while ago.
But that was literally him pushing me.
Pretty sure I left a comment talking shit. I think I did.
I'm sure you did. Oh, but let me tell you, when he made me put up that first ARS rack with him, I was so irritated. I vowed I was never gonna get another ARS. I mean, but I loved it, but I was so irritated.
One thing y'all need to know about Nicole, one thing that she don't have much of is patience. It's not there.
I'm getting better. I'm humming.
At her big age.
I love my big age. He didn't say, he said at her big age. Love it. I don't. I'm a lot better though. And this is the thing. Like I tell him, and like I tell Dre, and I tell anybody else I call. Why do I need patience when I have you?
You need patience to deal with me. To deal with me, you need some patience, and you already know that.
But why do I need patience to learn how to do something when you could just tell me? I swear to God, Adam from Proper Royals a couple weeks ago, I said, look, I know I'm doing something wrong with this camera. It's not plugged up today. But he sent me the screenshot and it told me exactly what I was missing. One little detail on the camera setting that was missing why I wasn't able to see it in the stream. But he sent me the screenshots. Boom, 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 boom. Less than 2 minutes. Why have patience when I have Adam who can shoot me something in 2 minutes? I believe in myself, Darlene. One day. I mean, I'm doing so much better. I've come a long way with it, though. Measure 3 times before you cut. That's what they say. All right, y'all. We are more than an hour in, I'm sure. This was always another.
I think we right on time. Yeah, we 2 minutes over. That ain't crazy. Last week was
Okay,
over.
not too bad. So everybody have an amazing Monday. This is starting off well. I guess we entering the second phase of the holiday, which is another one of my favorite holidays. It's Christmas. Did y'all notice it was a snake? Did you notice it was a snake? It's a snake.
What it got. Oh, okay. What's it like? Got some type of.
It got no face on it.
Got some kinks, but yeah.
Yes, it has some kinks, but it's a snake. Oh shit. But yeah, like in just my message for the holiday: do not spend money that you don't have. So make sure your bills are paid. Don't be stressing over. We're really good over here. Like we don't go crazy over Christmas. Even for the kids because they don't keep half of the stuff. Find your grandkids or your children's toys from last year. If you can bring me 10 of what you bought them last year to the screen, then you buy them more toys this Christmas. Otherwise, we get them a couple things, call it a day. Don't stress yourself out. Don't go broke.
I ain't going broke for nobody.
Yeah, some people do. Some people do it for the gram. They go broke. So, be able to post your Christmas gifts and not post your eviction notice a month later too. That's all I'm saying. Enjoy. Everybody have an amazing day. Have a good one, sis. Peace.